Welcome everybody to another BSWA Bodhinyana small Dharma talk and meditation session. So all of you are just fully aware of the full impact and the seriousness of the COVID-13 viral epidemic. But when you look at, so for example, when we reflect back on the Buddha's teaching, one of the major principles that the Buddha taught was the changeability of conditions, the changeability of states, changeability of experience. And it's something you see within this mind, this body, your thoughts and feelings, and right through the universe, the cosmos itself. And so even though the conditions in relation with this with the coronavirus has very, very serious impacts when it comes to social, medical, and economic factors, right across the world, that this particular, the level of, the level of seriousness, the impact, it can't sustain itself in the long term. And as the vast majority of you know, probably within 12 months they'll have a working vaccine which will be available on a global level. You've got some of the smartest people in the world working on this at present within the medical and the pharmaceutical and scientific fraternity. And very, very likely within 12 months they'll have a working vaccine. So some of the senior, economic advisors in relation to with this issue, everyone, especially the prime ministers and politicians and big business, they know it's they've got to get over this major hurdle, get this under control, because essentially it's really putting the slowdown on the economy, economic development, threatening people's jobs, and just affecting the whole global economy in a sense. So the vast majority of say the bigwigs, the political bigwigs and big business, they want to get people, get the infection, the corona infection under control, get people back to work and get business and the economy moving as best as it possibly can. So not to undermine the impact of the current situation, but as you're well aware that the overall conditions, the number of deaths, once they get a working vaccine, that's going to drop quite significantly. And so you get this kind of like a peak effect where we're moving towards a very high point with this experience, and naturally, according to the law of change, it's going to drop down, and it's going to drop down to a much more manageable, safe, acceptable level. So when you look at say human history, there's been so many major incidents, calamities, and things like the plague and smallpox and all these other previous sort of viral epidemics that we've seen in history, and all sorts of things, like with the banking crash and 9/11, all these very, very serious human experiences which have occurred throughout history, that that low points in human experience, human development can't sustain it. Always has to rise up. So the whole human condition is one of rise and fall, and that's the nature of the universe. It's the nature of natural forces and conditions right across the cosmos. The rise and fall of forces and energies of conditions. So no matter how difficult, how heavy, how bad things get in relation with this particular issue or anything else, that it has to come good, it has to rise up, and things have to improve, because that's the nature of life. And as you know, especially within Buddhist culture, we tend to put emphasis on goodness and that which is positive, that which is useful, beneficial, and has a good social impact on the general community, because the Buddhist path, it is a positive path. It moves towards wholesome states of mind, and those wholesome states are based in joy and happiness and loving kindness, compassion, and the very warm, positive, altruistic, wisdom-based principles that we see within Buddhist culture. So when you look at the Buddha's system of development, that all your foundations, they move towards that apex of wisdom, of very deep and profound understanding of oneself and of life and the cosmos in general. So even though things are very, very heavy at present, that we can reflect on these conditions. We can reflect on the nature of the body, of human life, of society, and the way people respond and the way they react, and this and that. This is like the raw material for your wisdom practice, because in essence, as Buddhists, as spiritual practitioners, that you should never neglect insight. So even if the world or things are just completely falling apart around you, you should just make an effort to hold oneself together, to keep one's head, and actually reflect on exactly what's happening both inside you and what's happening around you, say in the general community and across the globe. Because whether it's Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, or Buddhism, that we all, and especially Buddhist practice, we all have this emphasis on a deeper understanding of life and spirituality, the nature of mankind, how we live and where we're going, the quality of our life, all these sort of deeper, more profound principles which are concerned with deep philosophy, deep religion, and spirituality. So to start with the meditation practice, something that we can experiment with is because the vast majority of the human population are interested in positivity, in say good feeling, joy, and just having a good say perspective on life. The vast majority of people would rather orientate towards positivity and joy than they would towards let's say pain and suffering. So something we can do, and something which has like a protective effect, because we're radiating a positive feeling towards oneself, is that we can use these say warm, friendly, loving emotions and radiate them towards oneself, and you don't necessarily have to radiate towards other people unless it's something that you like to do, because as you radiate, say, positive, loving feelings towards oneself, that within days that will saturate oneself, and that will start to move out towards loving other people. So anyone who practices these loving kindness-based meditations for oneself will naturally feel that for other people, will feel a sense of kindness, friendliness, and positivity towards others. So in essence, that to use this, you can use this particular meditation as a almost like a protective force, because you're saturating the mind and the body with positive feeling. And when you have that particular mind state, it has a protective quality to it, because even the Buddha said it quite clearly in the sutras that the loving kindness meditation helps to protect one from poisons, from knives, from spears, from weapons, because you're looking at a very, very much more primitive, say, level sort of function of society at that time. And but the Buddha said very clearly that it has a protective effect, and even people who have very strong loving kindness, compassion, don't come to harm so easily. In general society, it's almost like it's something that people might find hard to believe, but it's something that the monks know quite clearly, because we see it, on multiple occasions, the protective effect of loving kindness and protection and compassion. It's like when you develop it, it's like a force field around you, which other people can actually feel as well, and people are less, sort of less inclined to harm or steal or cheat or rip off a person with that kind of vibration, because it's very, very wholesome. It has a very deep resonance of say goodness in it. But naturally, that loving kindness and compassion needs to be balanced with wisdom and insight and understanding as well. So, to start with, what we do is with the loving kindness meditation, which is based on radiating positive feeling towards oneself, you can use any words that you choose. So say something like, which might be useful for the general community, is say like, may I. It always starts with, may I be healthy, wealthy and wise. And that's a classic one that we see in positive thinking. Or it could be something like, may I be, say, it could be something like healthy, loving and joyful in my nature. You know, you can use any two or three different types of feelings in a particular sentence, and so you choose the words which are important to you. It could be one word, it could be a string of positive words, and you recite that positive sentence, that positive mantra, just very, very slowly, continually to oneself in the mind. So, you know, just that. So it could be something like, may I be blissful, friendly, and positive in my nature. It could be absolutely anything at all which is important to you. So you construct a small sentence, and then radiate that towards oneself for the next 5 minutes, in just a very slow, relaxed fashion. So as you develop this loving kindness, this friendliness meditation, just see if you can see that positive feeling arising in the mind. So what we'll do now is we'll move across to the breathing meditation. So we'll do a 30-minute session, and we'll do a slightly different style with this one, which is quite good for beginners, because what we're going to do is follow, say, the moving breath in and out of the body. So we'll follow the breathing in from the nose, throat, middle of the chest, down to the abdomen, from abdomen up, middle of the chest, throat, and then out through the nose. So as you breathing in, breathing out of the body, just follow the feeling. As the breath moves in, you feel the feeling moving down to the base of the abdomen, and then breathing out, moving out towards the nose tip. So you feel the full breathing cycle. The reason why it's quite especially useful for beginners, that some people have difficulty maintaining their attention on a stationary object, say like stationary breathing, and they find it, there's just too much distraction in the mind. So when you give your mind something to work with, when you follow the moving breath, you get your mind to follow the breathing and to actually work and do something. So it's actually much easier for some people to follow, say, like a moving object than a stationary, because it tends to give rise to more distraction. So just give that one a spin for the next 30 minutes, and I'll talk you through it as we go along. So with the beginner's instructions, just get yourself in a comfortable position, if possible, with at least with your ankles. You might be sitting in a chair, or if you're sitting on the floor, just cross your ankles. Have your hands together in your lap, back straight, head upright and comfortable. Make sure there's nothing tight around the throat, the wrists, the waist, and we'll just do this silently. So I want you to just experiment with this. Just as you're breathing in, just watch the breathing all the way in from the nose, middle of the chest to the abdomen. As you breathe out from the abdomen, middle of the chest to the nose, and watch that feeling, that sensation moving in and out of the body. And I'll just talk you through it as we go along. So as you follow the moving breath, just try to slow it down a little bit, and what happens is as you slow it down, your focus should actually increase the level, say like concentration in say loose terms, the sense of focus and attention should improve as you slow the tracking of the breath as you're moving in and out of the body. So just slow it down to as comfortable as you feel. So if you find yourself thinking about anything in particular, which is distracting the mind, just stop for, say, 20 or 30 seconds and try to understand those thoughts, those feelings, and why that particular event or person or object or emotion is a source of your attachment or clinging. So, for any of us, when we can't get peaceful very easily, the thinking mind is the thing which is most obvious, but it's your emotions which drive your thinking process. This is the key. So you really need to understand yourself quite well emotionally to bring a partial or significant end to the thinking process in meditation. So whatever it is that you're thinking about, try to understand exactly why. You're attached to that thing, because when you understand the connection, the link, then when the mind, because you have to teach your own mind. You're not born with wisdom. You have to teach yourself. So when you understand exactly why you're holding on to that thing, no matter what it might be a person, might be a past memory, and know the reasons why for the holding on, then the mind will understand and will slowly release its grip over time. So we're coming towards the end of the session. So just see if you see any improvement in the peacefulness, the stability of the mind. I'll ring the gong 3 times so you can open your eyes when you're ready. So thank you all for joining in this morning, and have a lovely, peaceful day. See you later.